These are people we think highly of, but if you knew the truth about them, you actually probably would not like them at all, or at least you would like them a whole lot less than you do now. First on the list is Dr. Seuss, the author of all of those wonderful children's books. Now, his name was Theodore in real life, and he was a horrible human being towards the end of his life. He'd been married to a woman for 40 years, and she developed cancer, and it made her bedridden. She couldn't get up. So he just started having an affair. Instead of taking care of her or being by her side or, really being, stepping up as a man and taking care of his 40-year-long married wife, he just decides to cheat on her, this real young woman. It bothered her so bad that she actually took her own life. And in her note, she wrote to the family, please don't tell everybody this is the reason why I'm doing this, but this is the reason why I'm doing this. I don't want people to know because our family legacy lives on in these books, and it's what's going to take care of our children and our grandchildren and our great-grandchildren. So please don't tell people until, all of us are passed away. So now it's public knowledge. So it's just mind-blowing. Number 2, I know I can feel the heat coming a little bit because everybody loves Paul Walker in the Fast and the Furious series. Everybody loves him. We're family. Paul Walker was a pedophile. He was a known certified pedophile. The only reason why he didn't go to prison or anything is because the families didn't complain. When he was 26, 27 years old, he was dating a 15-year-old girl. They were photographed together. He took her to Spain. He took her to Italy. They went around the world. This isn't even a myth or conspiracy. It was very open. Her family though was very pro for this relationship. Okay. Weird. He continues this trend. It wasn't a one-off thing. When he was 33 at the time of his, early death, he was dating a woman that was 23, but their relationship started when she was 16 and he was late 20s or whatever. And it was also very publicized. He had dated her for years. She took care of his daughter when she was 16 years old. She took care of his young daughter. And everybody was just yeah, it's okay. Because nobody was complaining. No one was upset about it. No one was making a fuss about it. And I'm sure the families are being paid really, really well. I mean, whatever. I could not go along with that. I could not even fathom being associated with that or part of it. But yeah, the girlfriend at the time of his death was his girlfriend for the past 4 or 5 years or whatever. 16 years old and they started that. He would pick her up from high school. It's weird. And the next one I'm almost even scared to say because the people who like this guy, they never want to hear a bad thing about him. They won't even let you talk. They're just plugging their ears. And as soon as I say their name, they're going to plug their ears and then give me hate comments in the comment section. What have you. It's not my opinion. I'm just stating some facts. It's American Sniper Chris Kyle. Okay. There's a lot of controversy and a lot of conspiracies about the way he passed away and the timing that he passed away. Because, as you all know, the very next year that he passed away, American Sniper was released. He passed away before it was released. He already had all the writing and, all the deals and everything, all that stuff. But he was committing stolen valor. And I know people get upset when they hear stolen valor. Oh, he was in the military. Oh. He was. He lied about a lot of things that he did, though. Okay? Not trying to take away what he did. He did a lot of great stuff. He did charities for people that had passed away in the Army. He did a lot of cool stuff. A lot of people, the conspiracy is that he did an Aaron Hernandez situation in order for his family to keep the money. Their net worth, they were only going to see roughly $6 million is what they were going to earn from the book deal, the movie and all that stuff. And it was all getting threatened to be taken away. There was actually a lawsuit that was active at the time that he did pass away that would have wiped them. They would have lost all the book deals. They'd have lost the movie earnings. They'd have lost it all and been ordered to pay $2 million, all this stuff. Because he made up some stories and put it in their book. And stolen valor is you can't make up anything in the name of military service or military accolades and claim it to be true in order for a financial gain. He did a lot of amazing things, not taking those away. He added some extraordinary things in there too that just weren't true. For example, he only had 1 silver star instead of 2. He only had 3 bronze stars instead of 5. So he gave himself 3 extra stars. He said that he was part of certain operations and things that he wasn't a part of. Okay. Or at least there's no proof that he was a part of them. So if he was really a part of them, then he broke another law where he talked about classified information. Okay. So which way or the other, they're you can't talk about this or you didn't do that. It's one of the two. Okay. So a lot of people said that he did that at that time. So his family would get to keep everything. Because if he doesn't get to tell his side of the story in court, they can't overturn the money because, it's, there's no court to be had because one party is missing, essentially. Just like Aaron Hernandez's master plan was whenever that happened, that big debacle. His wife's estimated net worth still today is about $4 million. She's very successful in her own right. but a lot of that would have been the whole Chris Kyle estate was going to get taken away, in order to pay back money that they couldn't have paid back. You all overwhelmingly asked for it, so here's part 2 of people that we hold in high regards in our memories because they, died at an untimely death, but they did awful things while they were living or did, kind of immoral stuff. Okay, so first on this list, and guys, I want to separate the art from the artist. I want to separate the inventions from the creators. Okay, we can all agree that they might have made or done something great while also being a bad person. Okay, the first one on the list, XXX Tenacion. Okay, I have music on his from his on my playlist right now. His songs are bangers. Okay, no one can argue that. No one can deny that. In real life, he was an absolute monster. At the time of his death, he was facing up to 30 years in prison for 3 different charges. One was domestic abuse by strangulation. The other one was false imprisonment, essentially holding a woman against her will, and holding her head under the water in a bathtub, trying to drown her. And lastly, assault on a pregnant woman, his own baby mother. Now, a lot of people are like, oh, that's just speculation. No, they had a recorded tape of him confessing to it. Like, it was just waiting to go to court. Like, that was it. Like, to me, it blows my mind how people will defend him and say, like, he was, the greatest person ever. Like, his messages are so clear. His messages weren't really what he was living by, apparently. Like, she described it as a torturous event that would last for days sometimes, and it would repeat every few days. In the tape where he, admitted to it, the audio recording that he didn't know he was being recorded on, he talked about how it just happened one day, and then it was like a pattern he couldn't break out of. Next up is Henry Ford. I did a video the other day talking about all the crazy stuff that Ford did that we don't even think about, like how he pretty much invented modern outdoor grilling. He, obviously had cars and tractors and all kinds of cool stuff. He also supplied the Third Reich with a bunch of their military vehicles. You guys roasted me on that. I did a video about it and you guys roasted me. You're like, did you know that he was essentially a Nazi? And I was like, no way. And then I looked it up and you all were pretty much right. Yeah. He was the only American that Hitler ever praised in his book Mein Kampf. He was awarded the Iron Eagle, the highest award the Nazi Party can award a foreigner. Okay. He wrote anti-Semitic stuff in newspapers and in his own book. And then what's crazy is after he would do these things, he would always claim, I didn't know it. You can't blame me for that. I didn't know my own company was selling the Nazis vehicles. I didn't know my own company was printing this stuff about, the Jewish people. They're like, sir, you are known to be on top of everything and you design that was always his scapegoat. Is he had so many people working for him back then. It was hard to track things and trace things with digital footprints like it is today, obviously, because that didn't exist. But he would always just blame somebody else in his company for what he was obviously doing. There's a lot of musicians on this list. So Jerry Lee Lewis is next. When he was 22, 23 years old, he married a 13-year-old girl. That also happened to be his cousin. And what's crazy is my last video, tons of people were defending this kind of behavior. When I mentioned that in the last video, they're like, oh, that's how it was back in the day, talking about Paul Walker. Paul Walker, this was in the 2000s when Paul Walker did it. Now, Jerry Lee Lewis, yeah, that was a little bit, longer ago, not that long ago, though. And, my response to that is okay, people used to say slavery was okay, but, it obviously wasn't. We can look back on things and go, well, that was fucked. That was wrong. Okay? So, I don't want to hear that defense from anybody again. So many people are like, my grandparents met when they were younger. My grandpa's 25 and he married my 12-year-old grandma at the time. They were together for 70 years. No, your grandpa groomed her. That doesn't make it right. Popular songs that are about really weird, inappropriate, disturbing things. The first one on this list is the most popular song possibly of all time. And when I read the lyrics, I was like, whoa, my, it's the Macarena, however you say it. That popular, fun little dance song that every little kid in the world does, hey, Macarena, and does all that. It's about a woman having group sex while her boyfriend is away in the military fighting for our country. That's what the Macarena is about. So apparently the guys singing the song hey, Macarena, that's the guys beckoning her to come back to their little sex party. And all of these moves with the dance craze, that's her different sex positions. Yeah, it's wild. And when we were little kids doing that literally in elementary school, that's what we were doing, apparently. Next is That Summer by Garth Brooks. And before I get into that, I can do a whole other video about how Garth Brooks is possibly a serial killer if y'all want me to. If you want me to go down that rabbit hole, I will with y'all. I'm here for it, okay? Now, Facebook, which is much bigger than our TikTok, will flag if I play the music. So I'm going to sing a little bit of this Garth Brooks That Summer song for you. I went to work for her that summer, a teenager so far from home. Okay, now this song is about a old lady who takes advantage of a teenage boy while he's working on her farm. Okay, she's an old woman widow. Later in the song, it describes her of having hands of leather that somehow turn to silk. Okay, she takes his virginity. An old lady, an old woman, takes this young teenage boy's virginity. Now, imagine if that was flip-flopped. Imagine it was an old man farmer that had a young teenage girl that came to work on his farm and he did this to her, okay? What? But I guess because it's a woman, it's okay. It's all right, I guess. I don't know. No one batted an eye at it, but that's what the song's about. She says to him, I feel the need to feel that thunder. What thunder are you talking about, ma'am? Every Breath You Take by the Police is super creepy. So you know that song? Every breath you take, every move you make. Okay, that song, everybody thinks that is like such a loving song, like, oh my gosh, they're in love. No, it's about a stalker, okay? And this is not like my opinion. It's confirmed by the songwriter, Sting, who wrote the song. He said him and his wife are going through a very bad divorce, and these were his thoughts he had as she's going around town. He was following her around, watching her, looking at the new dudes that she was being with. He was obsessing over her. He was being really jealous and really possessive. That song, you can look it up. He said that I had nothing but evil and bad intentions when I wrote that song. That song is not a sweet, loving song. Now, the Police didn't want to be on this list not once, but twice, okay? That other song that they have that was popular, that Don't Stand So Close to Me. Okay, that song is about a male teacher who is very attracted to his female students. They also like him, but he's like trying to remain professional, but they're like brushing up against him and standing close to him, and he's about to not be so professional anymore, okay? Third Eyed Blind. This is one of my favorite songs ever. It's Semi-Charmed Kind of Life. I knew this when I was little because you can hear it sometimes. Like sometimes the radio version plays it, sometimes it doesn't. It's about doing crystal meth, okay? One of the lines of the song was, crystal meth take you higher than the ceiling and then I'll bump again. Okay, take another bump of crystal meth. Semi-Charmed Kind of Life. His life is like he's trying to make his life good, and the only thing that he can make his life good is crystal meth, okay? Talks about how him and his girlfriend are having problems, but when they take meth, those problems go away. Scotty McCreery, he has a song called Cab in a solo, and every country person I know that loves country music loves this song, okay? It's about him trying to go win his girlfriend back, and he pulls up in her driveway late at night with alcohol, and he looks through her window, and he sees her having sex with another dude, and instead of leaving like a normal human being would do, he goes back, sits in his truck, gets drunk while he watches them continue to have sex through the window. What? What did he say? I'm ending this list with Elvis Presley. Many people consider him like the king of rock and roll. King of Creeps also could fit there, okay? He was going to be on my other video that I had about like famous people that people like remember greatly but had like horrible things going on in their life. When he was in his mid-20s, he was stationed in Germany in the military, and there he met a 14-year-old girl named Priscilla. He later married her. They started dating immediately while she was with her family at a party while he was stationed in the military. He met a 14-year-old. Now, you got to think, Elvis Presley could have had any girl in the world. He could have had any woman in the world, but he chose a child. So now when you hear his song, Pretty Little Girl, Come Over Here, Sit on My Knee and Talk to Me. Yeah, that's wild. See that photo that I just kept up there for a while? This is how creepy that is. That little girl in that movie was 10 years old. His wife that he met was only 4 years older than that little girl. If that doesn't creep you out, then you have a problem. Famous songs that are about really weird or disturbing thing. And the first one is the My Sharona song. So everybody knows that My Sharona. I can't put the actual songs on here, guys, because Facebook will flag it. So you're going to hear me singing in this. So My Sharona is literally about a girl named Sharona. Now, here's the problem. He was a rock musician in his mid-20s. She was a high school girl that also had a boyfriend. And not only was he going after this high school girl pretty actively, he was talking to her about, hey, I can give you this crazy life in exchange. You just got to come with me. And essentially wanted to whisk her away. This was about a real life situation. It is not just a fantasy in a song. This really happened. It was a real high school girl that had a real boyfriend that he met at one of his shows, okay? After he convinced her to go along with him, and he won, and he got her to uproot her whole life, just a couple years later, he ditched her for somebody else. Now, the story is these still remain friends, forever. but it's just a really weird, twisted thing to do for a grown adult in his mid-20s to go prey on a naive young high school girl and convince her to leave everything that she knows just to dump her a little bit later. Next is Bruce Springsteen, I'm on Fire. There's a very famous line, "Hey, little girl, is your daddy home?" Okay? Now, no, it is not about a literal little girl talking about her dad. The song, I got it twisted as well. This song is about a grown woman, and daddy is referring to, like, daddy, like her man, okay? I didn't get that, but if you read the lyrics, it's very explicit on what it's about, okay? But there's still a major problem with the song. This girl is not interested in him. This is completely from his point of view. He stops by her house. "Hey, little girl, is your daddy home?" He's got a bad desire. He talks about how it feels like a knife through his skull. He just talks about how he's obsessed with this lady. He is purely obsessed with a woman that may or may not even know that he exists. Okay? It is a pure jealous song. Like, it's super creepy. It's essentially a stalker. Nights on Broadway by the Bee Gees is just wild. I mean, just insane. It was one of the biggest songs in 1975. And one of the lines is, "I had to follow you, though you didn't want me to." The whole song is about how he's in a room full of strangers and she can't see him watching her. Like, there's all these different lovers that she has, and like, why do they have to stand between us? Essentially, he wants to be one of these romantic partners that she has, but she also doesn't know that he exists. Like, these are a lot of stalkery songs. And like, what's weird is there's a lot of stalkery songs from like the 70s and 80s that are like highly idolized, like really, held on a pedestal songs, and they are just the creepiest of the creepy songs. Like, he's talking about how he's following her around in the dark, and that she doesn't want him to follow her, but he's going to, and that won't stop him from loving her. Like, it's just super weird, strange. Now, the last one on this list, I thought just everyone knew it, so I didn't think I'd have to include it on this list, but it was one of the most requested songs from the last video. It's Fancy by Reba McEntire. Like, if you guys don't know that that's not a song about a mother giving her daughter away for prostitution, I don't think you've ever even listened to the song. It's not even a secret hidden message. It's just the song. You want to go down a dark hole with me? It's that Paul McCartney's been dead since 1966, and the Beatles replaced him with a guy named William Campbell. Why would you say that, Matt? That's a big load of bull, right? Okay. William Campbell died in a car crash the week after he won the Paul McCartney lookalike contest. Okay. This was right before they expanded coming over to the United States. And everybody says that Paul McCartney actually died in a car crash, and they replaced him with the lookalike contest winner, William Campbell. Because if Paul McCartney would have been dead, there'd only been 3 Beatles, and that meant that their deal was now null and void with their record label, which means they wouldn't expand to the U.S. They would not become the megastars that we know them of today. And one of the band members even says this himself, Ringo Starr. Now, Ringo Starr has notoriously been deemed as crazy, or what if he's just trying to tell the truth, okay? Because, let's face it, all the Beatles were pretty crazy. Listen to the song Strawberry Fields. In the background of Strawberry Fields, it sounds like they're saying, "We buried Paul in Strawberry Fields forever," okay? Where is Strawberry Fields? What is Strawberry Fields? It's a cemetery. And if you're thinking, I wonder when they recorded Strawberry Fields, it was the month after that car crash that we talked about. Go figure it for yourself. Go do some investigating. It is a fun, crazy rabbit hole to go down. And if you really like that one, I think that they replaced Avril Lavigne about 2006. Just leaving it there. Celebrities that have taken people's lives. Okay, this is a kind of a dark list. Some of these are accidental. Some of these are on purpose. Some of these are kind of like that gray line in between. So first is Matthew Broderick and Jennifer Grey. Okay, so now Matthew Broderick is famous for a lot of things. Ferris Bueller's Day Off and playing the voice of adult Simba. Countless stuff back in the 80s and 90s. This incident that happened in the late 80s is essentially what led to him being in almost nothing else, and Jennifer Grey was never, ever the same after this. If you guys don't know Jennifer Grey, she played like Baby in Dirty Dancing. She had a bunch of other famous roles. So anyhow, they're in Ireland. They're driving together. Matthew Broderick is driving the car. He swerved into oncoming traffic because over there they drive on opposite sides of the roads, and he accidentally went into their lane. And it actually struck a car where a mother and daughter both passed away immediately, instantly, right there. He was going to get reckless endangerment charge, which would have been some prison time for sure. But they downgraded it to, like, I think careless driving, which is something over there, that resulted in a $100 fine. There is a lot of debate and dispute on what caused this car crash. Next is Laura Bush. Yes, the Laura Bush. When she was 17 years old, she actually ran a stop sign right outside of her school and was in a fatal car crash with one of her classmates. So just rolled right through the thing. Phil Spector is a really crazy one. Now, you probably don't recognize the name or recognize his face, but you definitely know his work. He was a famous music producer. He made like famous songs like that. Ain't no valley low enough, ain't no mountain high enough. You know, the Remember the Titan song? That's what I always call it. Tons of famous songs like that. His girlfriend / love interest, whatever she was to him, her name was Lana Clarkson. She was famous also. She was a fashion model, and she was at a bunch of TV and movies. Supposedly, he got drunk and made her play Russian roulette. So it wasn't just a normal, shooting. It was a really weird, dark, twisted thing. And apparently he had a violent history. Somebody who made such a loving, endearing song had such a violent history. Apparently, like, he had had multiple run-ins in the past, but because of who he was, he kind of always got out of it, of doing some really dark stuff like this. Another pretty dark one is Ryan Grantham. You might recognize him. He was in a bunch of like B-list movies, but he was on The Diary of a Wimpy Kid. He's just a famous child actor that was in a bunch of stuff. You'll probably recognize his face. Anyhow, he plotted and killed his mother. I don't really know why. I didn't really go into a lot of details about it, but apparently he had a really dark time. Like, a lot of people are like, oh, his mom abused him. Well, he also plotted to kill the Canadian Prime Minister. Like, he had a bunch of like weird plots going on, and like, clearly his mind wasn't right, but he did get sentenced to life in prison back in 2022. Now, this one was one of those kind of like gray line accidents. It was Keith Moon, the drummer for The Who. This was like one of those things where he just kind of panicked, but apparently he was leaving a show, and there was a mob of like angry skinheads or Nazis outside of the concert. I'm not really sure what they were like angry and worked out about. Anyhow, he was wanting to get out of there really quickly, and he didn't realize that his driver had stepped in front of the Bentley and was standing in front of the car, and he was really drunk. Supposedly he was on drugs, and he also did not have a driver's license, the drummer of The Who, the Keith Moon guy. And he just jumped in the driver's seat and just tried to speed away to get away from this mob, and just straight up ran his driver completely over. Back in 2015, Caitlyn Jenner was in a fatal car crash. I have seen the video. In my opinion, I'm just going to say it. It looked like it was her fault. She was in a Cadillac Escalade with a dune buggy strapped to the back of a trailer or something, and it just looks like she just plow rear ends right through the other people. But there was no charges pressed. The police did not charge any kind of thing, because apparently she was going under the speed limit, and it did seem that there was an attempt to hit the brakes. I think it was more of a confusion of like how much weight they were towing and how much brake pressure would need to be applied. I just don't think they broke well enough, because they didn't know what they were doing towing a dune buggy. And it caused them to just right through the back of, like, they hit two vehicles. They hit one car that kind of shot off to the left, and once that car's out of the way, they hit another one. So, I mean, they hit two cars. We hope you've really been enjoying this past week of like all of our weird, different like celebrity pop culture facts. It's been a lot of fun doing them. I've learned a lot of really weird, interesting stuff. Celebrities that have ended somebody's life, part 2. Okay, we're going to start this one off with Alec Baldwin. Everybody probably knows this story. It happened back in 2021 at New Mexico, filming I guess like a Western cowboy movie called Rust. Anyhow, the gun that he was going to use actually was supposed to have blanks in it. Obviously, no one's going to be shooting real bullets out there. The first 2 bullets were shot, and those were blanks. But the third bullet that was shot was a live round, and it did strike Hanya Hutchins. And I might be saying that name wrong. I apologize if I am. And it also actually hit another person on set, but it was a pretty minor wound. Now, originally, Alec Baldwin and the director were going to get charged with involuntary manslaughter, and Alec Baldwin was like, I am not going down for that. Like, I mean, I'm an actor. I'm here to do a job. They gave me a prop. I used it. Like, that, to me, that was not on him whatsoever. They obviously dropped the charges, and the director was also charged with like tampering with evidence. I don't know like if he was trying to mess with it before the police got here, but he might have just been doing that out of panic, like trying to figure out like what was going on. Like, I mean, to me, that's where I'm questioning that, because how did live rounds get mixed in with blanks anyhow? Like, why was there live rounds period at all? No movie that I've ever known of uses actual live rounds. Now, people always like to jump on this next one and like attack him, and it's Johnny Lewis. Most of you will know him as Half Sack from Sons of Anarchy. He did kill his 81-year-old landlady, and then he jumped off a roof of his house, I guess, and killed himself by hitting the pavement. He had just been released from jail, and he was having like severe mental issues that a lot of people I think said was like severe schizophrenia. Like, he did not know what planet he was on. These allegations were further backed up by Katy Perry, who did not speak publicly after his death about his mental health, but she had made statements before because they actually dated about 6 years before this incident happened. And the reason why they broke up, she said, is because he was going through severe mental struggles and she just could not help him. Like, she was not the person to help him, which I don't blame her. I mean, obviously you saw what happened, like how violent it ended up. And a lot of people, I think, feel like they're stuck in these relationships and they have to help somebody with mental health. Like, I'm not saying you should abandon somebody that has mental health issues, but especially for a woman, it can be extremely, extremely dangerous, like out of control dangerous. Rebecca Grayhart is somebody else that pretty much disappeared from the limelight because of what she did. She did run over a 9-year-old little boy at a Hollywood intersection back in 2001. She was driving a friend's Jeep, and she really didn't get sentenced to a lot. She got $2,800 fine. She got, I think, like 700 hours of community service and a few years of probation. No jail time. The family did sue her for a wrongful death case civilly, and they settled outside of court for an undisclosed amount. Eyewitnesses said that the reason why this accident happened was just pure impatience. Apparently, somebody stopped in front of her to let the little boy cross the crosswalk. She couldn't see the little boy, so she sped around them, and when she went around them, she just hit him. Now, here is a wild one, and I didn't know this about Mark Wahlberg, and people change over time, I guess, but they also just get better at masking things. So Mark Wahlberg, I've always loved his movies and everything, but when I was looking at this list, he did not unalive anybody. He didn't take anybody's life, but he came close. Apparently, back when he was a teenager and he went by Marky Mark and he was like in gangs and stuff. If you guys didn't know that side of Mark Wahlberg, it is a whole 180 different side of him. But he was involved in like several racially motivated events. One of them led to him almost going to prison for a long time. He was actually supposed to go to prison for a few years, and I think he only ended up doing like 45 days or something, where he did beat an Asian man with a lead pipe. There's other cases back when he was younger, in his teenage years, where he got in trouble for he was chasing a bunch of children of minority around a neighborhood and throwing rocks at them and yelling racial slurs at them. In 2014, he tried to get the felony charge expunged from his record because it just kept coming up. Because when you search his name, it would just pop up there. And so many people gave him backlash for trying to get that expunged that he just dropped it. He was just like, okay, never mind. I'm not going to. He tried to get like some petition going to get this removed from his record. Like, I don't know why he thought people would rally behind him on that. And I was wrong a minute ago. I actually re-looked at it. He attacked 2 Asian men with a lead pipe. And it was apparently just purely racially motivated. Here's a list of celebrities that people have rumored and speculated that are either immortal, time travelers, vampires. Maybe they're drinking that adrenochrome and getting to start their life cycles over, or maybe they're just getting reincarnated over and over and over again, okay? So here's a list. Here's some photos to go along with why people think this. Like, these people appear to have been in photographs over centuries ago, or decades ago, when they look the same age. So take a look at these, see what you think. So a lot of these are actually going to be like old medieval paintings before photographs even existed, okay? This first one's going to be Michael Jackson. Then there's going to be Orlando Bloom right after that. Now, it's worth noting, like the Orlando Bloom one, he was a famous writer back in the day, apparently, like if you were to believe this. Okay, and that seems to be on par for all of these. Like, we're going to get into more in a minute that seem to have been like kings or queens in the past. There's even a modern day one where it appears that they might be existing at the same time, and people are speculating that it could possibly be a clone. Okay, there's this lady named Xena, and she is actually the daughter of the founder of the Church of Satan. Okay, look at this side by side of Taylor Swift. Okay, a lot of people talk about Taylor Swift being in the Illuminati and them trying to control the masses. Well, of course, you're not going to listen to somebody who is literally the daughter of the founder of the Church of Satan, but you might listen to a pop artist named Taylor Swift, okay? And then this one, I thought this was the most like spot on one of these three, was Matthew McConaughey. Now, here's some ones that appear to have been like in some old-timey photos. First of all, here's Eddie Murphy, which, I thought this one was pretty spot on, but the most spot on one on this whole list, hands down, belongs to Jay-Z. This is nuts. This was a photo taken in Brooklyn, like back in the 1940s, okay? That looks like spot on Jay-Z. Now, a lot of people are saying that, you can have doppelgangers over the years. Maybe this was a distant relative of his, like, a great-grandfather. Could have been. It's just crazy how spot on these are, okay? Now, the last one on this little series, like old pictures, David Schwimmer. This one, once again, is right on the money. Now, if it wasn't for the ear thing, I would swear this was Nicolas Cage, but the ears look too different. Doesn't mean that he couldn't have had like surgeries or facelifts, or like we talked about earlier, it could be possible like reincarnation type deals or like cloning over the years. That is one theory that a lot of people like to allude to, is that maybe they clone other individuals or like have a clone of themselves. So if they ever get sick or have organ failure, they've got a perfect organ that would go right into them. There's actually a movie about that with, I can't remember, the guy from Die Hard. Now we're going to get into like some Civil War and Revolutionary War stuff. We already kind of touched on it with Matthew McConaughey, but look at this one of Justin Timberlake. This is a Union soldier, or I'm sorry, a Confederate soldier next to a photo of Justin Timberlake. I mean, it is the exact same, okay? Now, Revolutionary War, this is wild, but every photo that you can find of Paul Revere looks exactly like Jack Black. Like, could you imagine like some modern movie of Jack Black, like, the British are coming, you know, he's riding on the horse. Like, Paul Revere is spot on Jack Black. Now, this next one I would like to believe is just like a distant relative, but John Travolta, this is like the same jaw and mouth, and he has such a iconic jaw and mouth that is like so unique. It's weird to see somebody else have the exact same jaw and mouth as him. Okay, this next part we're going to jump into like political figures, kings, queens, things like that. Okay, and the first one is Sylvester Stallone, looks just like Pope Gregory, and then Mark Zuckerberg is a spot-on doppelganger for King Philip. I mean, just like right on the hit. Now, the next two are like people that look exactly like old-timey actors and actresses. And the first one's Jennifer Lawrence. And the actress that she looks exactly like was famous in the 40s and 50s, okay? And the next one is the girl from Emily in Paris. Once again, can't remember her name. Looks exactly like the girl from Breakfast at Tiffany's, Aubrey Hepburn. And once again, this next one looks like Johnny Depp was just playing himself like in a younger, like, it just looks like a younger version of Johnny Depp right here. The one after this, though, I really thought was fake, and I had to look it up over and over and over again, and I cannot find any proof that this next photo is fake, because you can't tell me that that is not Jimmy Fallon, and that's Jimmy Fallon. That's Jimmy Fallon with a crazy mustache. Like, that's a Saturday Night Live skit right there. And I'm going to leave you on this list with Maggie Gyllenhaal and Rose Lane, okay? Once again, they are just spot on. They could be sisters. They could be mother-daughter. I mean, they are each other's twin. These are the most misquoted movie quotes of all time, and a lot of people think there's some supernatural elements behind this called the Mandela effect, but you decide for yourself, see what you remember. We're going to start off with the biggest banger of them all, and it's Star Wars. Everybody always goes, Luke, I am your father. He never said that. He goes, no, I am your father. And it doubled down. In the next movie, The Empire Strikes Back, he says it again. Okay, he never says, Luke, I am your father. So a lot of people are like, oh yeah, you're just misremembering what movie it is in. Nope, he never says the line, ever. Nope, ever, not once. And I can feel the anger from this next one before I even say it. And it's every old person in a retirement home ever is about to get upset with this because it's a classic. It's Casablanca. The famous line, play it again, Sam. I mean, they always like say it with like some kind of smirk on their face. Play it again, Sam. Like, they're always so smug when they say it. It's not what they said. It's not what they said. They just say, play it, Sam. That's it. That's all they say. Play it, Sam. There is no play it again. Just play it, Sam. Play the damn song, Sam. And how many of us as little kids went, mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the fairest of them all? It never says mirror, mirror on the wall in Seven Dwarfs, you know, the Snow White movie. It never says mirror, mirror. Mirror, mirror. I have a really bad southern accent, so it sounds like I'm saying murmur, mirror, mirror. It says magic mirror on the wall. That's it. No double mirror. Now, I loved like every sports movie when I was a kid. In Field of Dreams, this was a letdown because I didn't know this until just a minute ago. If they build it, they will come. Was never a line that was ever spoken. It says, if you build it, he will come. H-E, he will come. If you build it, he will come. And if you spend any time being a fisherman, everybody's always heard the line, we're going to need a bigger boat from Jaws. No. You're going to need a bigger boat. You're going to need a bigger boat. Not me. Not my problem. Yours. In the movie Apollo 13, everybody knows that famous line when a mistake happens. Houston, we have a problem. Nope. They only speak about it in the past tense. Houston, we've had, H-A-D, a problem. Houston, we've had a problem. Not we have a problem. There is no longer currently a problem. We had one a long time ago. And if you're a big nerd like I am, you'll know that no one ever in the Star Trek franchise history ever says, beam me up, Scotty. No, not in the original, any of the original stuff. No one ever says, beam me up, Scotty. Sometimes they'll say, beam us up. And then sometimes he'll be like, Scotty, beam me. But they never say, beam me up, Scotty. That's just a completely just fan fiction made up thing that really caught on. The last one I'll leave you here with today is Forrest Gump. He never says life is like a box of chocolates. You know, Mama always said life is like a box of chocolate. Nope. He always says, Mama says life was like a box of chocolates. It's just small, it's minor, it's a little, but it's just a little, you know, you just got to get it just right. Life was like a box of chocolates. If you like these kind of videos, follow us. We might not ever do one of these like this again. We do random stuff all the time. Later tonight, I'm going to do something spooky, I think.